Welcome back, everyone. The world grew up believing wars are decided by tanks rolling across borders, columns of armored vehicles crushing resistance, and massive maneuver warfare that redraws maps in weeks. For decades, Russia built its military identity around this exact idea. Endless parades of steel towering tanks, artillery lines stretching to the horizon, and the belief that sheer mass could overwhelm any opponent. But history has shifted and Russia failed to notice. Today, no tanks dominate the battlefield, no sweeping maneuvers decide victory, and the old rules no longer apply. This is not the war Russia prepared for, and that reality is slowly but unmistakably sealing its fate. Modern war no longer rewards size alone. It rewards precision, intelligence, adaptability, and economy. Russia entered the conflict believing it could replay the victories of the past, but instead it found itself trapped in a battlefield that punishes every weakness it once ignored. Tanks that once symbolized dominance now burn as liabilities. Maneuver warfare, once the pride of Russian doctrine, has collapsed under drones, satellites, precision missiles, and real-time battlefield transparency. What remains is not a powerful juggernaut, but a force bleeding resources, morale, and credibility. The battlefield today is watched from the sky every second. Satellites track movements. Drones hover silently, waiting. Thermal cameras see through darkness and camouflage. Every convoy, every tank, every troop movement becomes a target almost instantly. In this environment, mass is no longer protection, it is exposure. Russian armored columns that once would have thundered forward now hesitate, knowing that one drone costing a few $1,000s can destroy a vehicle worth millions. This imbalance is not sustainable, and Russia is paying the price daily. The tank, once the king of the battlefield, has become a symbol of vulnerability. Russian tanks are not failing because they are poorly built alone, but because the battlefield no longer favors them. Top attack missiles strike from above where armor is weakest. Loitering munitions circle patiently before diving down. FPV drones guided by operators sitting miles away punch through armor with terrifying accuracy. In maneuver warfare, tanks need speed, surprise, and support. Russia has lost all three. Speed is gone because movement invites detection. Surprise is gone because satellites and drones see everything. Support is gone because logistics cannot keep up under constant attack. Fuel trucks are destroyed, ammunition depots explode, repair vehicles never arrive. A tank without fuel is a bunker. A tank without infantry is a coffin. Russia's doctrine assumed protected supply lines and air superiority. Instead, supply lines are hunted relentlessly, and the sky is contested every hour. Maneuver warfare depends on coordination. Infantry, armor, artillery, air support, and logistics must move as one. Russia struggles with this coordination not because its soldiers lack courage, but because its system is rigid. Orders flow slowly, initiative is punished, adaptation is delayed. Meanwhile, modern warfare demands flexibility. Small units must act independently. Commanders must react instantly to changing conditions. Russia's military culture, built on hierarchy and obedience, is cracking under this pressure. Another fatal flaw is the economy of war. Russia is burning through equipment faster than it can replace it. Tanks pulled from storage are decades old. Spare parts are scarce. Sanctions choke access to advanced electronics. Precision weapons are rationed. Meanwhile, the battlefield consumes everything at an industrial pace. Drones are expendable. Ammunition is fired in massive volumes. Attrition favors the side that can innovate cheaply and scale quickly. Russia's heavy industry cannot adapt fast enough to this new reality. The war has also shattered the myth of Russian military superiority. Once feared, Russia's army is now studied as a cautionary tale. Its failures are broadcast globally in real time. Burning tanks become viral images. Captured soldiers speak openly. Leaked communications reveal confusion and desperation. This loss of prestige matters. Allies hesitate. Rivals grow bolder. Deterrence weakens when power no longer looks convincing. Morale is another invisible battlefield where Russia is losing. Soldiers fight best when they believe in the mission, trust their leadership, and see a path to victory. Endless rotations, poor equipment, unclear objectives, and mounting casualties erode that belief. Modern soldiers are connected to the world. They see what is said about them. They see the contrast between official statements and reality. This psychological strain compounds the physical dangers of the battlefield. The absence of maneuver warfare has turned the conflict into a grinding war of attrition, and attrition favors flexibility, not mass. It favors those who can adapt tactics weakly, not those locked into doctrines written decades ago. Russia's reliance on artillery barrages reflects this desperation. Firepower replaces movement. Destruction replaces progress. But artillery alone cannot win wars when supply lines are fragile and counter-battery fire is precise. Technology has democratized destruction. A small team with drones can achieve what once required an armored brigade. This shift is devastating for a military designed around heavy formations. Russia invested billions in platforms designed for a different century. It underinvested in networks, sensors, training, and decentralized command. The result is a force that looks powerful on paper but struggles in practice. The economic consequences ripple beyond the battlefield. War drains national wealth. Skilled labor disappears into the military. Investment dries up. Innovation stalls. Infrastructure decays. Even if Russia could sustain the fighting militarily, the long-term economic damage compounds every loss. A modern war is not just fought with weapons. It is fought with supply chains, factories, data centers, and global trade. Isolation weakens all of them. Diplomatically, Russia finds itself increasingly boxed in. Neutral countries hedge. Partners demand discounts and concessions. Arms sales decline as performance is questioned. Influence wanes as reliability comes into doubt. Power is perception, and perception is shifting fast. The image of an unstoppable force has been replaced by that of a struggling giant weighed down by its own past. There is also a generational aspect to this failure. Modern warfare is driven by young minds comfortable with technology, improvisation, and rapid learning. Bureaucratic militaries struggle to harness this energy. Russia's command structure often suppresses initiative instead of rewarding it. The result is a slower, more predictable force facing opponents who adapt daily. No tanks dominating the field does not mean no violence. It means violence has changed form. It is quieter, more precise, and more relentless. It arrives from above, from beyond the horizon, from unseen operators watching screens. Russia prepared for thunder and steel. Instead, it faces silence and sudden destruction. This mismatch is deadly. Every war reveals truths a nation would rather avoid. For Russia, the truth is that power built on past glory cannot survive a future it refuses to understand. The tools of yesterday cannot solve the problems of today. Without maneuver warfare, without effective armor dominance, without adaptive command, Russia is trapped in a conflict that bleeds it slowly. The idea that sheer endurance will bring victory is another illusion. Time does not favor those who stagnate. Time favors those who evolve. Every month the war continues. Others learn faster, innovate cheaper, and share knowledge more widely. Russia's learning curve is steep, but its system resists change. History will not remember how many tanks were produced or how loud the parades were. It will remember adaptability, intelligence, and resilience. Wars are not won by nostalgia. They are won by those who understand the present. Russia entered this conflict with the wrong assumptions, the wrong tools, and the wrong mindset. When maneuver warfare disappears, when tanks become targets instead of spearheads, when logistics crumble under constant surveillance, the old military giants stumble. Russia is not finished because it lacks soldiers or courage. It is finished because it is fighting the last war in a world that has already moved on. The battlefield has spoken clearly. Power today is invisible until it strikes. It is cheap, smart, and relentless. It does not march in columns or roar across fields. It watches, waits, and destroys with precision. Those who fail to adapt do not lose in one dramatic collapse. They lose slowly, day by day, asset by asset, illusion by illusion. Russia's tragedy is not defeat alone. It is the realization that the future arrived without asking permission, and it does not care about past victories. No tanks, no maneuver war, just a brutal lesson in what happens when a military refuses to evolve.